Hello and welcome back to Nat Scraps. I'm Natalie Baconic, a close to my heart maker, and I'm here today sharing project 2 that I have made with the Backyard Bliss scrapbooking kit. What I do is I generally take the kits, pull them apart and see what I can make out of everything that's in the kit. With this particular kit, I got 9 layouts out. This is the second one that I'm sharing. I do have a video that has all 9 layouts on it in a nice quick video, and I will have a video up for the process for each individual layout as well. Where I'm starting today is I'm taking inspiration from the second layout that is in the kit. I'm taking all the circles out and that frame that isn't even used in any of the layouts and starting to build a page. What was on the screen is the photo of the layout that they have in the kit, but I don't tend to follow any instructions. At this point, I quite like what I have, and I'm thinking this is excellent, all good here, let's move on. So I pop off and I find some photos. I grab these 2 photos of my father-in-law and my kids, and I think they will look beautiful matted up on the wood grain, which matches the frame that my father-in-law had made in the photos. This ended up not being the best choice that I made because I really struggled to fit these photos here. I tried for a while to get the photos to look like they were meant to be there and moved the flowers around, hoping that it would all come together with those flowers down the side, but it just didn't work very well at all. So I try lots of different things and nothing much is really sticking or looking right. Do try turning that around and trying a different angle and moving all those flowers again and back again this way. Let's see if this one works, and no, not really. That's okay. I have a bit of an aha moment in a second. I'm going to have a little look at that sticker sheet, and when I do that, I'll get a little bit of inspiration and I'll see the piece of wood grain paper that I'd pulled off previously when I matted the photos sitting there, and I slide it in next to those photos, and that's where we're going to go. So I pull all the circles in from the top and the bottom edge and overlap them onto those photos, and it's a big light bulb moment. It actually works. I'm bringing in the word fun from the sticker sheet, and I'm also going to bring in a little bird cage from the sticker sheet and pop it there. I look at the wood grain die cuts and there's a little banner part there, and I pop that on the page and think I'm going to put the title on it. Had a bit of a brain fart there because the letters were actually twice as big as the chipboard, so I don't know what I was thinking. I went through my picture of my life cards and I found this one card with a really nice title that worked for the page, and I trimmed that down. I always grab the picture my life cards that match the scrapbooking layouts because they make the layouts lots more layouts than what you would get out of just the kit. It really extends the kit and gives you lots of different options. I decided to match those photos in on a bit of white daisy, and you can see there I'm just tidying that up, and then I'll also match the photos as well with a very thin border. Now I'm marking around the wood grain, and I'm going to go in off camera and cut that where the wood grain is going to cover over the top. So I'm hoarding that pink paper, and I actually hoard that right up until the 9th layout, believe it or not. It doesn't get used till then. I absolutely adore this pink paper. If you guys get a chance, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That just helps me to keep making great videos like this. I'm using this thick double-sided tape because the actual gutting that I did on that page was very, very close to the edge of that wood grain, so I was just making sure that it didn't go anywhere. Here's where I'm matting up those photos with the white daisy. I'm going to trim those out and pop them on that wood grain. quite a bit out here where I relayer up all those flowers. I do end up changing the fun and the love sentiment there, and I put the love up the top and move the fun down to the bottom, and it works a lot better. When I do that though, it does mean that I'm going to have to change a few of those circles around as well, so that there's not cream circles sitting next to cream circles and pink circles sitting next to pink circles, nor the pink flowers. So I'll move a few more of those around and bring in a couple of different colours. Around that love, I also build up 2 or 3 circles that are just poking out behind the love and fill in a bit of that background, just a couple of tiny details behind. In a moment, I have a bit of a disaster, so I'm adding some foam tape to that flower and I rip off one of the leaves. Now, this is not the only disaster I have that with that flower, but I fixed this one by just sort of sticking that one back in, and all's good for a little bit longer. I'm going to glue the stems down on these leaves and then foam tape in behind the leaves, and I'll do that on all the leaves, but I'm not going to make you guys sit all the way through that. So I'm going to cut till after I've magic mounted all of those and keep going from there. I'm going in with my marker and I'm just going to do a little bit of marking around that love and the circles. The circles to me were fading just a little bit into the background and they weren't standing out and popping. So I go in with the marker and I just do little dots and lines around there. And this is where I kind of have that second disaster with the flower down the bottom. I do the circles first. And I think, oh, I'll do a little bit of marking around that center of the flower. And then I think, I'm going to pop some black lines on the flower itself and some details. And that was just the worst decision I made all day. So here I go. One time around and I think this doesn't look right. So I might just go and put a bit more on. And it's completely wrong. It looks terrible. So I'm going to rip that off. And here we go. And then I have a little look around my bench and see what I can do to fix that, because I really liked the colours and I found nothing that was big enough, but I did pop back to my Hope and Kindness collection and the pinks are nearly identical. So I traced around that flower, fussy cut it out, pop all the letters back onto it. Thank goodness the letters hadn't stuck down really hard. Add a heap of foam tape back on and pop it back, and it's just like nothing had happened. Now I'm just covering the photos. I'm going to come in with my shimmer brush, and this is the black one, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer. I realize I'm going to get a mess everywhere, so I try to cover up some of my other work and pop that out. I'm testing the shimmer brushes to see of the pink ones, which ones will look okay on there. And I test this one first and it's not a very good mix, and then I go back in and have a look for another pink and like that one a little bit better. And this time I'm going to come in and use that shimmer brush ink with the Perfectly Imperfect stamp set. And you'll see I stamp it right up there in the top left and it works really well. And then when I stamp down on the page, it got really blotchy. And I don't know what I did. Like, I tested it and it was working fine, and we fix this in a second. It all works out for the best. I'm going to cover that first big blotch with some stickers. And then I'm going to cover down the bottom. I try with a leaf and a bird and not quite working. So I move that birdhouse down and I'm going to pop the bird underneath, just sitting near the birdhouse. Put a bit of foam tape on the back and you can barely see where I made that big boo-boo down the bottom there. I bring in this little banner and pop that one on. It only needs foam tape on the very ends, doesn't need foam tape in the middle. I'm drawing a little loop on the birdhouse and just felt like the birdhouse was just floating there a little bit too much. Adding a few more little stickers from the sticker sheet and some of the die cut flowers with the wood grain die cut. on the sticker sheet there is a border of white flowers, and I've cut that border strip up, and I'm just tucking little bits and pieces of the border strip in amongst those clusters for a little bit more texture. I'll also go back in and grab a few of the leaf stickers and cut up and pop in there as well. I'm going to have one last look around my bench and decide to add some hearts. These are all left over from that layout one that we did, and I'm just sprinkling them in spots around the page. Again, just adding those final last little details. And that just about does it for this layout, guys. I've got a few still shots here at the end for you to enjoy and a couple of close-ups. Thank you guys so much for joining me and spending this time with me. I hope you have a lovely day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.